Welcome into Toyota Bulls Postgame Live. Jason Goff alongside 15-year NBA veteran, fifth pick of the 1990 NBA draft, Kendall Gill. We are live here at the United Center. The Bulls are in Cleveland getting ready to come on back. They lose 144-126. First Emirates NBA Cup action for the Bulls. On the road against a team that has won 13 in a row. They get their 14th in a row, tied for third best start in NBA history to a season.
Yeah.
Now 14-0. The Cavs are a tough team, but it was right there for the Bulls. The same things that have plagued them in losses this season came back to bite them tonight.
Yeah, specifically in the second half, 12 turnovers in the second half. That's just productive to what you really want to do.
Mm-hmm.
We mentioned in the pregame show that would be one of the keys to the game. And, you know, the Bulls had the Cavs scored 22 points off of those turnovers. You know, and it's just an Achilles heel that continues to plague the Bulls night in and night out. If you cut out half your turnovers, we're coming back home with another win with Cleveland. We actually should be 2-0.
Yeah.
Against the Cleveland Cavaliers, but it's been turnovers that have been the problem in both games.
And there's little things like throughout the game where it's not an avalanche. Like, for instance, the beginning of the game, avalanche. All those 49 points allowed in the first quarter, 22 points in the paint, and then the defense kind of shored itself up. They got into a better offensive rhythm. And then in the fourth quarter, like you mentioned, the turnovers, a couple of by Patrick Williams. Then you had Coby White with the jump pass that he hadn't done all game long. I mean, it's like they find a way in the winning time moments to do the things that they haven't done all game long. This is a winnable game. The score won't denote that, but this is a very winnable game.
And you just said it, in winning time.
Mm-hmm.
That's when the turnovers are happening, and that's when they can't. Like the one where they were both on a fast break, Coby and Zach, and no one went for the basketball. I can understand the confusion, but one of those guys has to go after the basketball. You can't assume that your teammate is going to get it. Both of them actually should have gone and tried to get that ball.
All right, it's now time for our Toyota play of the game, and that's exactly what KG just described, Kendall. This was the dagger. This was the one that kind of put it away for him.
Yeah, this was. I mean, great outlet by Io, but neither one of the guys. And they both knew it right there, but neither one of the guys. And then it turns into a three-point shot by Caris LeVert. If we get that basketball, now we cut the game to 4. Instead, now we're down 9.
You make a mistake, you got to get back. Because when they didn't get back, the rotation, I believe, was on Kobe's man. You see Coby jogging back into the play. Next thing you know, Io has to come over there because he was top side.
Yeah, he was top side, so you have to have the rotation, but it didn't happen. But, I think that the Bulls later on in the season are going to kick themselves because of the games that they could have won against some of the top teams in the league. I mean, you look at Minnesota, turnovers. You look at both of these games, turnovers.
True. And on top of it, for all the people out there that were wondering why the Cavs were still running up the score, if you had the sound down and you're listening to Adam and Stacey, it's point differential. We saw this last year where DeMar took umbrage that this was happening, and old school NBA cats like, hey, the game's over, don't run it up. 144, they got there because of a 19-2 run, I believe, at the end of the game.
Right. I mean, points comes down to your placement in this tournament.
Right.
So they're trying to score as many points as they can. So it's not going to be any gentleman's agreement where hey, listen, if we're ahead, we're going to stop scoring on you. That's not the point in this tournament. The more points you score, the better off you are.
Speaking of scoring points, man, Spider Mitchell.
Oh, my God.
Hey, listen, I don't know if there's a new generation Bulls killer, but if there isn't, his face is squarely in the ID picture. 37 points tonight, just 7 rebounds, 4 assists, only 1 turnover, played a darn near perfect floor game. He is outstanding, and he loves playing against the Bulls.
Yeah, you see him right there with the spin move and the sham god. He was giving it all to the Bulls tonight, but 20 second half points. I mean, he really turned it on in the second half. And you hear the chants of MVP. And he kept up with his average
he did.
for the Emirates tournament.
Yeah,
he
39 a game, right? Yeah,
and then now he gets 37. So this guy loves this tournament.
Speaking of loving to see something, the must-see matchup. We did not love seeing this one tonight. Zach didn't have it tonight, and it started early, and it ended that way as well. 37-8. We were looking forward to this matchup because these are 2 of the premier scorers in the game. Zach just didn't have it tonight. 9 assists, but 4-16 from the field. Didn't hit a three-pointer. Wasn't his night tonight.
It wasn't his night tonight, and also late in the game, well, not late in the game, but in the second half, the Bulls had so many three-pointers go in and out on them. I counted 4 or 5 of them myself, where the ball went in and it went around the rim and just popped out. Unfortunately, those shots didn't go down. But if they go down, now we're talking about a different story. But some nights, you have nights like that where you're off. What Zach has to do now is just rebound from it.
Yeah, a guy whose shot was falling tonight in a game where they scored on it 20. Like, the offense wasn't the problem tonight,
No,
right? Turnovers on the offensive side, yeah, but the defense was the real culprit. But a guy whose shot was falling this evening, Coby White goes 8 for 15 from the field, 6 of 11 from 3. Got to the line, which you love to see. We talked about this last year. Up those free throw attempts from out 3 or 4. If he can get in that 6-7 range, he's cooking with gas. Ended up tonight with 29 points.
Yeah, Coby was doing a great job of getting to his spot. As you see him right there, he just runs to the three-point line and waits. And then he mixed it in with a couple of drives. I thought that he was really aggressive. Love that mid-range shot right there that he just took. And that's the one thing. I love Patrick Williams right here doing this, backing his man down, the smaller guy, then finding Coby White. That could be a new part of their offense if they can get that going consistency. I really like Patrick Williams handling the basketball, bringing it down. But Coby was on one tonight. I mean, he was really hot. I only have questioned one of his shots, the late 35-footer.
Yeah.
I thought he could have got a little closer.
Yeah.
But for the most part, Coby played a great game.
Yeah, that turnover at the end of the game really hurt him. So it's still things that you have to round into form. Now, I know you talk about those first 20 games, trying to figure out who you are with the rotation fluctuation and the injuries that they've dealt with, some of the defensive issues. You're going to start to see maybe that rotation shrink a little bit, but certain things you got to refine. Let's talk about Vooch. He had 18 in the first half, had 7 in the second half. We've kind of seen this be a trend in their losses, especially where Vooch doesn't double up in what he did in the first half. Started out the gates great, ended up with 25 points and 8 rebounds, but this was a night that I think Vooch could have had a little bit more as well.
Yeah, and, like you just mentioned, sometimes we've seen this before, where Vooch has a big first half and then comes back, he has a mediocre second half. I think that if I were Billy, I would focus. If Vooch has a big first half, I'm giving Vooch the first 5 attempts.
Yeah, touches as well.
First 5 attempts, Vooch, I want you to shoot those. Same in the fourth quarter to keep my big man going. If you give him the basketball, like Shaq once said, if you don't feed the big dog, he won't guard the yard. Okay? I think that's the same thing you have to do with Nikola Vucevic. You have to continue to feed him because, look, Mobley wasn't in there tonight.
No.
I thought we had a distinct advantage. Yeah, Allen's a good defensive player, but Vooch knows how to play against those guys.
Yeah, and he can body him a little bit.
He can body him, yes.
Jared Allen's a terrific shot blocker, but still a little lighter than Vooch. I thought he'd be able to move him around a little bit more. Right. Patrick Williams, we talked about him in the pregame show. Last 6 games, he's had a little bit more of a shooting touch.
Yeah.
He talked to KC, said he's rounding into form after the foot surgery, not playing 5-on-5 the entire summer pretty much. P. Will, he had a couple of big turnovers down the stretch, but what did you see other than that from his game tonight?
More and more aggressiveness. I really like what I see. I hope that he can continue to play this way. I think he did an excellent job tonight of 1, scoring and 2, assisting. Yes, he had he had 4 turnovers, I believe, tonight. No, 3 turnovers he had tonight, but they were aggressive turnovers. One I wish we could have had back late in the game was during a crucial part of the game. But if you're going to play aggressive, I don't mind the turnover here and there.
Aggressive mistakes.
Aggressive mistakes, I don't mind. And that's what you see him doing. But, for the most part, I really like the way he's making a turn. Now we need to see him do this consistently. I don't want to see it 2 or 3 games. Right. I want to see it 10, 12, 13 games. If he can do that, this makes a big difference for this Bulls team.
When your power forward can get 9 assists from you, that speaks to not only his vision, but collapsing and rotating the basketball and knocking down shots.
Right, and he presents a matchup nightmare. You saw him at one point, Zach was bringing the basketball down. He went directly to the post because he had Darius Garland on him, a much smaller guy. Never did that before. There was no recognition by the team for him to get down there in the post at 6'8", 6'9", on a guy 6'2". That's what I love. He saw him once again. He backed him down. Got the assist to Coby White. If he can continue to do things like this, he's going to be a matchup nightmare.
Cavs raised their record to 14-0, the 4th best start in NBA history to start a season. They are firing on all cylinders. They beat the Bulls 144-126. When we return, Right here on Toyota Bulls Postgame Live, we will hear from Billy Donovan. He will be sitting in that chair in front of that mic. You're watching Chicago Sports Network.